Hi, welcome to the FilmCrop channel. Today I'm going to tell you about an action movie from 2010 called The American. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support me with a like. That way the channel will grow. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie is about a man named Jack. He is a professional assassin. Jack and his girlfriend Ingrid are on vacation in Sweden. They decide to take a walk near a frozen lake. During their walk, Ingrid notices footprints in the snow. Jack senses danger, pulls out his gun and starts pulling Ingrid for cover. Shots rang out. Jack finds the shooter and kills him. As he searches the shooter, he asks Ingrid to go back inside and call the police. She runs in fright to do his errand, but is suddenly shot in the back of the head by Jack. He runs to the road and kills the second shooter. After which he flies to Rome. In Rome he meets his boss named Paul. Paul tells him that it's not safe for Jack in Rome right now and demands that he escape to a small Italian town called Castelvecchio until Paul can sort things out in Rome. Jack goes to Castelvecchio, but to thwart the attempted surveillance, he decides to cover his tracks and throws away the phone Paul gave him. Jack pretends to be photographer Edward and hides out in Castel del Monte, a small town in the Abruzzo Mountains, which is in the middle of Italy. Here he meets the local priest, Father Benedetto. During Benedetto's conversation, and now with Edward, the father begins to suspect that he is not who he seems at first glance. Benedetto decides to find out what Edward is hiding. At a brothel, Jack meets prostitute Clara, who calls him Señor Moth because of the tattoo on his neck. After a while, Jack gets in touch with his boss and Paul informs him that there is an order for him. Jack doesn't even have to shoot himself, he only has to collect the required weapons for the customer. The woman Matilda, who placed the order, meets with Jack and talks to him about the details of the order, namely a special rifle with a silencer. Jack assembles the weapon for Matilda, receiving the parts to assemble in the form of photo accessories. She meets Jack one more time and together they look at the weapons he has made. The customer is very pleased with the silencer and asks that the sight be refinished. She also needs special ammunition. Jack begins to suspect that he is being followed. He notices a suspicious car and a man in it. He was not mistaken, someone wants to kill him. As a result, the killer himself dies. Jack and Clara's relationship develops into something more. Clara, having fallen in love with Jack, asks him out on a date to the Greppella restaurant and he agrees. On the date, the girl thinks Jack is keeping some secret. In the morning, Jack discovers a gun in Clara's purse, but does not tell her about it and decides that she is the one and only one who wants to kill him. Jack calls Paul and asks him for 2 more days to complete the order. Clara and Jack get back together and decide to go on a picnic. He thinks the girl will want to kill him and take advantage of the moment. But it turns out that a friend gave her the gun to protect herself from the customers. Jack doesn't understand why she has a gun on a date. Turns out there have been murders before, so she always carries a gun. Clara asks him to stay or take her with him. Jack remembers not to make friends, that's what Paul told him. Jack calls Paul and tells him that this is his last assignment. Paul quickly agrees. To Jack, this looks suspicious. The next day, Jack needs to hand over the weapon to the customer. After waiting then to do so, he takes the rifle out of its case and changes the bolt. Jack hands the ammunition in the candy wrapper to Matilda and receives money for the order. He already realizes, though, that Matilda got the order to kill him. She leaves, and Jack rushes to Castel del Monte. There is a religious festival there that day. At the feast, Jack finds Clara and offers her to leave the town together. He gives her the money and asks her to wait by the river. At this point, Matilda aims that very rifle at him, but as soon as she pulls the trigger, the rifle explodes, inflicting fatal damage on her. Matilda tells Jack that she works for Paul. Jack rushes to his car, but runs into Paul and kills him, wounding himself in the process. Because of the great loss of blood, Jack has a hard time getting to the place where he meets Clara. But as soon as he arrives at his destination, he collapses on the steering wheel and a signal goes off. The camera goes up over Clara, showing a fluttering moth.